Maybe on the original one. Oh, here we go. Right off the face-off. Pizzetta and Hodgson dropped the gloves. Well, we said Hodgson all night trying to make his mark on the Senators lineup. Pizzetta doing the same.
Good day, hockey fans, and welcome to Across the NHL. The clash between the Montreal Canadiens and the Tampa Bay Lightning is always a must-watch affair, a battle dripping with skill, speed, and playoff intensity. But last night's contest was abruptly overshadowed by a single shuddering collision along the boards, a hit that has since ignited a firestorm of debate across the league. We are, of course, talking about the moment when Tampa Bay's Brandon Hagel leveled Montreal's Alex Newhook. The play left Newhook injured, the Canadiens incensed, and the hockey world divided. Was this a clean, hard hockey play? Or was it a dangerous, suspendable offense? Today we are going to do a deep dive. We will break down the hit from every conceivable angle, analyze the NHL's rulebook, and get into the nuances of what makes a hit legal or illegal in today's game. This is not about taking sides blindly. This is about understanding the incident in its entirety. So let us set the scene. It is the second period. The game is tightly contested. Montreal's Alex Newhook is skating hard into the Tampa Bay zone, chasing a loose puck that is sliding towards the corner. He is in a vulnerable position, bent forward, focused entirely on playing the puck. This is a critical detail. From the opposite direction, Brandon Hagel is reading the play. He sees an opportunity to separate the man from the puck. He closes the gap with speed, and just as Newhook makes contact with the puck, Hagel makes contact with Newhook. The impact is brutal and immediate. Hagel's shoulder appears to drive directly into Newhook's head, pinning him against the glass. Newhook collapses to the ice and remains down for some time, eventually needing help to get to the dressing room. He did not return to the game. The referees on the ice deemed the play a minor penalty for an illegal check to the head. That was the call on the ice. But the question remains. Was that the correct call, and should there have been further supplemental discipline from the Department of Player Safety? To properly answer that, we need to look at the NHL's rulebook, specifically Rule 48, which governs illegal checks to the head. The rule states, and I am quoting here, a hit resulting in contact with an opponent's head where the head is predominantly the point of contact, and such contact is avoidable, is illegal. Now let us break that down into its two key components, because both must be present for a major penalty or a suspension. First, the head is predominantly the point of contact. This is where frame-by-frame analysis becomes essential. From the primary angle, it certainly appears that the principal point of contact is Newhook's head. His body is curved over, his head is down, and Hagel's shoulder makes direct and forceful contact with the side of Newhook's helmet. The follow-through and the whiplash effect on Newhook's neck strongly suggest the head absorbed the bulk of the force. Defenders of Hagel will argue that because Newhook changed his posture at the last second, it was unavoidable for Hagel to make some head contact. However, the rulebook places the onus on the hitter to avoid hitting a vulnerable player in the head, even if that vulnerability is created a moment before the hit. This leads us directly to the second and perhaps more debated part of the rule, and such contact is avoidable. Was it? Could Brandon Hagel have done something differently to deliver a legal hard check without making the head the main point of contact? This is the gray area that fuels so much debate. When you watch the play in real time, Hagel is committed to the hit. He does not leave his feet until after the initial contact. He does not appear to extend his elbow or launch himself upward in a predatory manner. His skates are on the ice at the moment of impact. One could argue that Hagel's only other option was to not finish the check at all. In a split-second decision, he chose to finish his hit on a player in a dangerous position. The NHL has repeatedly stated that players must exercise respect and responsibility for an opponent's safety. They have suspended players in the past for hits where the opponent put themselves in a vulnerable position, ruling that the hitter still had a responsibility to minimize or avoid contact. The fact that the on-ice officials called a penalty immediately suggests they felt Hagel had a less dangerous alternative. Now, let us talk about the aftermath and the Department of Player Safety's decision not to hold a hearing or issue a suspension. This, for many, is the most baffling part of the entire incident. Given the result, a player with a concussion history being forced from the game with an apparent head injury, the lack of supplemental discipline feels inconsistent with the league's stated goal of protecting players. Why did player safety pass on this one? The most likely explanation based on their history is that they determined the head was not the principal point of contact in a way that met their threshold for suspension. They may have concluded that Hagel made initial contact with Newhook's shoulder before the head snapped.